Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so excited to celebrate with you all once again. Fan favorite, you've seen him here a lot before, the one and only Marc Laurenson. Marc Laurenson is one powerful astrologer. He is heart-centered, and he is one of the most popular teachers we have at Synchronicity University. And Marc is coming back to Synchronicity University, this time teaching an amazing course I know so many people out there are going to love on Lilith, Eris, and Ceres in astrology. Yes, he's going to pack all that in a 5-week course. So he and I are going to talk about these goddesses / asteroids here today. And my goodness, I always love talking to Marc. There's always really positive energy here. So Marc, welcome. Thank you for being here once again.
Thank you, Nadiya. Thank you so much for having me again. And I love teaching at Synchronicity. This is number 4, I think. This is the 4th mini course I've done. So really, really happy. Super thrilled to be doing it again. Okay.
Yeah, and I know that this is the only place, Synchronicity University is the only place that you choose at that, you choose your tuition rate and people can actually learn from you at that low rate. As part of the mission, like Synchronicity University has this mission of making quality astrology available to the masses so that they can learn astrology. And you are such a perfect symbol of all of that. And your generosity with coming to the school and teaching, it's so wonderful. I've said to you before, every time I talk to you, I come away different. I come away feeling like I understand myself and my chart and my journey so much better, so much more. And it's been your words at times that I have held when I've had moments that have felt challenging. And I'm like, okay, I know this is that aspect, but I remember what Marc was saying about that aspect. And you have helped me so much. I love you. I really do.
Oh, thank you, Nadiya. Thank you so much. But I always think that teaching's a two-way street, isn't it, really? I mean, every time I teach something, particularly when I'm doing stuff with my students, I'm getting as much from them as they're getting from me. So, I'm getting full, I'm getting fed, so to speak, every time I do something like this. So, I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for saying what you just said. Beautiful.
I always say that we are co-creating the learning experience together with the students, the people who show up.
That's
and
right.
It really is the energy they bring. It's what they choose to share in the chat. It's all of it that ends up coming together in really beautiful ways.
Exactly. It all comes together that way. Yeah.
It does. And I don't know if anybody out there could tell, this might have eluded some of our viewers, but Marc is Australian. Could you tell that when you listen to him talk? He is Australian. And in Australia, there's going to be this huge event in January of 2025. I'm going to be there. You're going to be there. Cameron Allen, Stormy Grace, so many other big dog, Frank Clifford. Talk about big dog astrologers. Are going to be there, and so many more.
It's going to be terrific. It's going to be on the Gold Coast, not far from where I live. It's going to be in January of next year. Lots of international astrologers will be there, of course, plus the cream of Australian astrologers too. So if you want to come out and see Australia, a beautiful country, Australia, and you've never been here before, what a great way to do it. What a fabulous way to do it. Come out and have a wonderful astrology kind of experience, astrology event, and then get to see our wonderful country at the same time. Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that astrology is this thing that takes me all over the world, but it's also the thing that has opened the world to me as well. And, one thing that's really amazing is that wherever I go in the world, there's almost always, I would say darn near always, I always say, like on social media, like, hey, I'm in this city, who's around or whatever. And people reach out. They want to meet me. And I have been very surprised at the places on the planet that I have found people who watch me. But with Australia, it's different because Australia is like one of the top countries that watches me. I know this because we can look at the actual demographics on my YouTube channel of who watches. And Australia is always right there, like number 3 sometimes, number 4 sometimes. It's
Wow,
incredible. Yeah. And so I
that's
know a lot
amazing.
of, yeah, it is, isn't it?
I talk about you a lot.
Oh,
I'm
I
always
love
talking
you.
about you in my classes, so
Yeah.
maybe that's got a little bit to do with it. But
Yeah.
I imagine you're popular everywhere for sure.
You are my
Yeah,
PR person in Australia. Yes. You can get me
go
on the
for it.
local news. Yeah, yeah. And there was one thing I wanted to tell you about Australia before we move on and talk about these amazing asteroid goddesses. But
Yeah.
in fourth grade, something happened, and it was just for that year of fourth grade. I was obsessed with Australia, and I was obsessed with koala bears, and I so wanted to go to Australia. And I remember we could do a project, and I chose to do my project on Australia. And the teacher said it's due in 30 days. And I did it overnight. And I showed up the next day with this huge board, and it had pictures I'd glued that I'd seen in magazines of Australia, including the Sydney Bridge. That's something I
Oh,
remember so clearly. Yeah. And so it's kind of incredible. It was always one of those places that I associated with, my fourth grade self was so passionate, just knew like, oh, I got to know Australia so much. And now here we are. We're so close right there that I'm going to know Australia.
I know, it's going to be fabulous. That little girl, that little fourth grade girl is going to be like here, when you arrive here, it's going to be like, this is it. I'm here,
Yeah.
It's going to have that
Dancing.
feeling. It's going to probably bring it all back to you. Exactly
Yeah.
how you felt when you were 8 years old, 9 years old, that kind of thing. It's going to be
Mhm.
beautiful. It's going to be lovely. Can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't
I
wait to
can't wait
actually see.
either. And I know there's going to be a banquet. And if anybody knows me, they know I love an outfit. I love a gown. I love dressing up. And one of the organizers, Sylvia, reached out and said, yeah, there's going to be this banquet. So maybe you could bring something that, sort of fits this, like kind of nice, basically, she said. And I said to her, look, if there is a competition, I will win that competition where it comes to who is the best dressed. I always do that. So I'm
Well,
really
this is your
looking forward to
chance.
that. Yes,
This is
this
your
is my
chance.
chance. Yeah, yeah.
You can go for it. Yeah,
And
you can go
so,
big.
yeah, right. And so this is my goddess asteroid expression. For me personally, it is about dressing up and stuff like that. I've got a ton of asteroids in Aries in the 10th house, and it includes the asteroids that you are about to talk with us about. So I don't know even where to begin because it's just so exciting. Tell me about the overriding theme of these 3 asteroid goddesses.
Yeah, well, what I've entitled the mini course, I've actually titled it From the Darkness into the Light, because I find that the 3 I'm talking about, I'm going to be talking about Ceres, which is a dwarf planet now. I'm going to be talking about Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, which is a lunar point. And I'm going to be talking about Eris, which is a relatively new planet in astrology. It was only discovered in 2005, but it's slowly coming into astrology now, and we're getting to understand her a bit more. And they all represent a very, very powerful, powerful yin energy. Okay. And I want to really go into that part of these planets, because there is something about the yin energy in all of us that I feel that it's difficult to integrate. It's challenging to integrate because powerful yin has never really been honored, never really been taken seriously, particularly by the patriarchy. And so therefore, for us to really come into a place where we can integrate, where we can feel comfortable with this powerful yin energy in us, it feels like we have to go through some kind of rite of passage in a way to get to where it really wants it to be in us, we have to go through experiences that may actually be quite challenging. And I really want to look at what it means with each of these and what it means to understand, you know, the experiences we might go through or the scenarios we might go through, to try our best to be able to bring them into our lives in a healthy way. Okay, so I'm going to look at that, and of course I'm going to be looking at being able to see the promise and the potential and the wonderful energies that they have as well. But I really want to go down the road of really coming into celebrating the powerful yin in us all, men as much as women. I think men have to be able to really understand this energy, not only just in women, but also in themselves as well. So I'm going to take a real deep dive into these particular astrological energies, and I'm going to bring up lots and lots of stuff to do with, you know, chart work, and lots of examples, you know, people who've gone through certain experiences with them. So I'll put them up, bring them all up. So it'll be a full-bodied learning experience with these powerful energies, powerful yin energies. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited about it.
Me too. What can you tell us about, because I'd love to go through these asteroids / goddesses one at a time so that
Yeah.
I could understand them better. Tell me about Eris. Can we start with Eris?
Start with Ceres. Yeah. The interesting thing with Ceres, she was, you know, the Greek equivalent is Demeter. And a lot of people know the story around Demeter and Persephone and Pluto, and how
Tell it
Demeter,
that, yeah.
you know, Demeter lost the plot completely when Persephone was kidnapped. Persephone was kidnapped by Pluto and taken down into the underworld. Persephone was Ceres' daughter, okay, Demeter's daughter. And she lost it, as any mother would, you know, who had their daughter kidnapped. She completely kind of went into turmoil, total despair and total depression. And Ceres is the goddess of agriculture. She grew all the food for everybody. So everybody needed her. Everybody loved her. She fed the land. She fed everybody. So when Persephone was taken down into the underworld, she was so distraught, she barrened the land, totally barren the land. So nothing grew anymore. And everyone was starving to death. Okay. When Ceres came back, she was happy and everything flourished again. So here we go with this one. Ceres is about love being as important as food. Okay. Love and survival are synonymous. We need love to keep us alive. We need love to survive. Okay. So when you're looking at Ceres, this is the part of your chart where you need to be fed love, and where you need to feed love back into the world, or feed love back to a particular, whatever area it is in your chart. So food and love, you know, and that feeling of survival and love is so important for what Ceres is about. Because again, if you don't feel this, or you don't have this in your life, it is like you're emotionally starving. And a lot of people are walking around the planet now totally emotionally malnourished. Yeah, they're totally emotionally kind of drained of any of this energy, because there's no love. There's no real love in their lives that they can point to and actually go, that's how I get love, or that's how I share love. So Ceres has everything to do with that. So we're going to go really deeply into what she means in the chart, and how to be able to go through the rite of passage that you might have to go through to get to the love that Ceres wants to share with you. So that's Ceres. Okay. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, for sure. But I just wanted to make a couple of comments quickly. One was, the food being as important as love is, like, wow, that is incredible to contemplate and consider. There is like sort of the godfather of sociology is named Max Weber. Maybe you've heard of him, lots of people have, but he coined this phrase, the iron cage of postmodernism. And what he says is, we live in closer situations than ever before, but we feel more isolated from each other than ever before. And the one
That's
thing
incredible.
yeah, right? Isn't that perfect? And the one thing that I love about traveling is it makes me very aware that there are so many people who want love, who want to know love, and that there's different kinds of love. Of course, there's romantic, but there's also friendship. There's just connection. There's a moment. There's, something you hope will continue to grow. There are so many ways to understand love. And sometimes I can feel how much people want that, but I'm also so aware how abundant it actually is in the world. It's incredible.
Exactly. And that's what Ceres is about. Ceres is recognizing what you just said, that, it is around us. It's everywhere around us. And all we need to do is come into a place where we're open to receive it. We're open to be it. And we keep on thinking we have to look for it. We keep on thinking it's out there. It's elusive. I never got it from my mother, so therefore I'm never going to get it in life. And so it becomes really, really troublesome for a lot of people. But as you just said, Nadiya, it is there. It's in you. We're born with it. It's our birthright. It's that feeling of we're loved organically. We're loved naturally. And we need to be able to come into a place where not only that we know that, but now we can actually start to share it. So
That's
Ceres is that. Ceres is that feeling of needing love to survive. And so when we think about it, when we think about people, not doing that or not understanding that or not experiencing that, it is a little bit like, it sounds a bit dramatic by saying The Walking Dead, but but it's got a little bit of that thrown in. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
that feeling of being totally drained of that energy, totally malnourished of that energy. So we're gonna really sink our teeth into Ceres and what she means in your chart. So I'm looking forward to that.
Mm.
So will
Food.
I talk about Lilith?
Okay, yes, talk about
No,
Lilith
no,
because
no,
I
no,
love Lilith
please.
so
You wanted
much.
to say something. Go
Well,
on, say what you're going to.
I was going to say that you know, food is such an intimate thing, and we associate food to this very primal part of us that was put into place before we could even speak. And that is this connection to food that we have that starts in our mother's bodies. And there's even evidence now that says the part of us, like the little egg that ended up being us, that part was also in our grandmother's bodies and our going back to our
Exactly.
great grandmother's bodies. And so this sense of food being so associated with love, I think is fascinating because even now, like my mom will be like, "Did you eat? What did you eat? What did you eat?" I was in Rio and I was going dancing every night. And so I was having so much fun. I was a little bit too busy to eat. And that was nice. I mean, I felt like really light and my body looked really light. And she just, as soon as I got home, she was like, "You are eating. You are eating right now." Because that's
Yeah,
what they understand love is. And it
exactly.
does hit that deep, very deep place. Eating her food, eating our mother's food, it reaches that very deep place in our psyche of association with love.
Exactly. And mothers are always, "Oh, you look so thin." My mother would always say to me every time I turned up, "Oh, you look so thin,"
Oh,
meaning,
okay.
what's going on? What's happening with you?
Yeah. So it's not just my mom. Okay.
No, I know it's kind of like a mother thing, but Ceres is connected to your mother, so you'll find a
Mm,
lot of your mother stories in Ceres as well. I just want to bring something up very, very quickly, and I'll go into this in the course too. Um, Karen Carpenter, the wonderful singer from the Carpenters way back in the day, who passed away when she was very, very young. She passed away from anorexia nervosa. She had anorexia, and she had real trouble with her mother. Her mother favored her brother. Her brother was the star, and if she resented Karen, she resented Karen becoming the star. And so Karen had this real thing with her mother and wanting to please her mother and wanting to get love from her mother. Karen has Ceres in the 6th house, squaring her sun and her Saturn. Sun's in the 10th, Saturn's in the 4th. Ceres in the 6th, squaring both. She creates anorexia nervosa, trying to be the best she can be, trying to be perfect, trying to please her mother, and she dies. She dies from this eating disorder. And you don't want to say that, it was Ceres that, but at the same time, it was a Ceres thing where she literally equated love and food. When she wasn't getting love from her mother, she just didn't eat. And so it just spiraled out of control. And so,
it's beautiful.
that's a classic example in a very literal sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Sending her spirit lots of love. Her story has been, used widely to help people to understand anorexia. So we are sending her
beautiful, beautiful soul, incredible Pisces soul with the voice that takes you to heaven. Her voice is just one of those amazing voices. So yeah, beautiful soul, had a lot to give, but unfortunately. So will we talk about Lilith?
Talk about Lilith.
Now you know a bit about Lilith because you've written about Lilith yourself, so you know all about her. But what I want to say with Lilith, and I'll keep it as short as possible, and we're going to go into it in a big way in the course, is that Lilith is about, and you know this, it's about the yin energy and the freedom and the power that comes from the yin energy. Now, I want to say that back in the day, and even now to a certain extent, that women were just told to be mothers and wives. That's all they were told to be. Be a good mother and be a good wife. And that's anything outside of that was looked on as kind of like, oh, that's a bit strange. You want to do something different or you want to be unusual. And it was frowned upon. It was frowned upon. Now, you know that Lilith was Adam's wife before Eve in the Hebrew. And she went, Adam, I'm not going to be doing what you want me to do. I'm not going to be lying down and you on top of me. I'm going to, I'm going to do my own thing. She went off and did her own thing and she was punished for it. So here we have this energy, this powerful yin energy of not only women, but men with yin energy that get punished for expressing the freedom, of this energy that seems to want to just, it's almost like to unleash the beast and be able to live life, as an emancipated, liberated energy that, is what yin is all about. And it's very powerful and it threatens the patriarchy. It threatens the patriarchy. So, of course, women in certain cultures and in certain religions are covered up. They're covered up. They're only looking out of letterboxes almost. It's that feeling nuns were covered up. It's kind of like, let's kind of say, what's the word? It's kind of subjugate them. Let's kind of, pull that energy down. Let's kind of erase that energy. Let's kind of delete that energy out of that person. And it's about you coming into this area now and actually going, no, I'm a 21st century woman. I can live my own way. And I want to say men need to be able to come to terms with that in their own lives. Now, 4 times more men suicide than women. For every one woman that suicides, 4 men have done the same thing, okay? So you can see how a man kind of not addressing his yin energy, not addressing his feelings, not addressing his heart, not addressing coming into that softer place, takes him down a road of, I don't know how to cope anymore without addressing that energy. So, you can see that yin energy is calling out in every person, men as much as women, to be able to come into our lives and be able to, for us to feel comfortable with it and for us to own it and for us to not be embarrassed about it, not to feel shameful or not to feel guilty. All those kind of things come in with Lilith when we're not really owning her. So you've written about her, you know a lot about her.
Yeah, it's not published yet. Yeah, everybody should know it's like a 90% done for the last couple of years. And I even went to the banks of the Red Sea, hoping to connect with her energy. And, this was the birthplace of patriarchy, happened on the banks of the Red Sea. And so it was incredible how I felt, which was really angry at the patriarchy, really angry at the subjugation of women. And I
Yeah.
understood why. She was created out of the same clay as Adam. God
Yeah.
breathed life into both of them. So she knew herself to be equal to Adam.
Yes.
And when he
Yeah.
said, lay down, she was like, no, I don't want to. I don't like him. And she takes off screaming into the middle of the Red Sea. And
Yeah.
God sent his angels, and she said no. And then God went to her, and she negotiated with God to have her freedom. And, I saw a meme just today talk about synchronicity, and it was saying that, they'll have us believe that women are created from the rib of a man, but really all of us come from the womb of a woman. And it's just fascinating to consider how she kind of has evolved over the years. At first, she was a celibate, basically. She wanted to be on her own, hanging out with owls in the middle of the sea.
Yeah.
But then she starts to evolve, and she becomes this like hypersexualized succubus figure, the wife of our lovely the devil himself, right? So she becomes like a queen of the underworld. And I
Yeah.
think it's because when I was there, what I realized was that there is a type of psyche, a type of perception of the world that cannot conceive of the fact that a woman could know what she wants and not be sexual.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if a woman knows herself and she's independent, then she must be sexual as well.
Yeah.
It's just, there's such a disconnect. And it was infuriating, actually. It
Yeah.
was infuriating. I understood why she's
It's
so angry.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's incredible, isn't it?
it
That's
is,
that's
isn't it?
exactly right. That's exactly it. And we're living in the 21st century now. We're in 2024, and we're still in our own way. We're still struggling with this. We're coming to it slowly but surely, but there's still a long, long way to go. And she's so powerful in charts. You recognize how powerful she is in charts. So I'm going to be bringing some charts up with her very, very strongly placed in people's charts, so we can have a good look at how she's played out in
You
your
know,
chart.
yes, yeah. Well, look, I want to say, every time I talk to you, I end up saying, please forgive me for being selfish, but I want to share this with you. And then you tell me something and it changes my life. So please allow me to say this. Okay, so I do have a whole bunch of asteroids in Aries in my 10th house. And Lilith is right there with them, right? And okay, outside of that, though, because Lilith has played a very important role in my life and my work, and my parents were feminists, and they always, always told me, like, as a woman, do something in the world, make sure you make your own money. My parents wanted me to be Prime Minister of Canada, and that was their vision for me. So, I mean, in a way, it's great that I got that message all the time, like, you are going to be Prime Minister. But of course, my life had a different path, and they're very, very proud of me. But here's the thing I wanted to share with you that I thought was so interesting. I recently had the realization, it was just yesterday, because I was talking to another astrology friend, Yuridia Robles. She and I have co-wrote one of our books together. And she mentioned to me, and this was like mind-blowing. So 3.5 years ago, I ended a 7-year relationship. And that was very difficult and very painful, but I just knew it was, yeah, like I tried everything in me. I was just done. I was spent. It was over. And so in the last 3.5 years, there were a couple of people who made an impact, let's say, right, that I dated. And two of the most important, two people who really stand out as like they changed my life forever. Okay, both of these people had Venus conjunct Lilith tightly conjunct Lilith in their 10th house. And
Wow.
I know, right? Isn't that mind-blowing to think? Like,
Wow, that's incredible. Like, did
yeah,
they have that in their natal chart or Venus
natal.
conjuncted your Lilith?
It was
In
natal.
in their natal, right?
Exactly. So the first one, I met him about 5 months after I ended with my, my main ex. And he had that conjunction and his sun in the mix. So everything was at 11 and 12 Aries and at the top of his sky. And I remember he said to me, like, when he met me, like, he could tell I was such a powerful woman and how much he liked that about me. Now, the most recent one who had this conjunction, um, he had it in Scorpio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, isn't
Okay.
that fascinating? Yeah,
There's such a magnetic pull in Scorpio too. You would have been really drawn in with that. It would have had a charismatic, magnetic kind of feeling about it for you. You would have
yeah,
really, really been, yeah, would have been very attractive for you. But your Lilith is really, really strong. You can see your Lilith in Aries in the 10th house. Look at what you're doing now. I mean, you are Lilith. Oh, to me, anyway, you're Lilith personified. You're a strong, you know, female. When I say female, I mean female in a really kind of powerful way, and that's what Lilith is about. Up the top of the chart, at the helm of the chart, you are the ruler of your life, kind of thing, and that kind of feeling of taking authority in the world, and you're an astrologer, and you're a great astrologer, and you're a respected and revered astrologer, and you don't, you know what I mean? You don't apologize for yourself. You don't pull yourself down and go, oh, but I'm only, you own that, and you're there, and it's you're like, I want to say, a really kind of like a little poster child. You really are. You're somebody that everybody can actually look up to, and everyone can aspire to become like you. You really do your Lilith beautifully, from where I can see. You're
thank you.
you sit into your Lilith in such a way, because there's nothing about you that plays into the old-fashioned version of being a woman. You know that
Oh,
old.
yes.
There's nothing
Oh,
about
yes.
you that does that. There's nothing about you that buys into that. There's nothing about you that even tries to, entertain that. It's almost like you're your own creation, your own way. Nothing's going to stop you. No man is going to put a stop on you. That kind of thing. This is Lilith. This is Lilith at its best. And to be
Wow.
able to live on the edge, to be able to do astrology, and to be able to take people to the next level of who they are, be a transformer, be a change agent. This is all Lilith stuff. This is all big Lilith stuff. When I teach Lilith in my course, my own course, I talk about her as Pluto Uranus. She's got that kind of feeling about her, that Pluto Uranus conjunction that happened in the mid 60s. Lilith came into popularity around that time, and what was happening in the 60s, the mid 60s, where the world just went crazy. The world just broke loose in the mid 60s, from very, very conservative 50s and early 60s to sex, drugs, and rock and roll of the late 60s and 70s. And that's Lilith. That's that Lilith energy, that no holds barred kind of energy that you have. You know, I love that about you, Nadiya. I think, there's
Thank
so
you,
much
Mark.
about you that I love. And, that Lilith energy is definitely a big, big part of that. Yeah.
I love that you are so attracted to that Lilith energy as well, because I know
Mm.
you reached out, you gave love. I teach a business class once a year at Kepler College. And, one of the things I teach the students and I remind them of is love will get you everything. Love will get you everything. Pour love into what you do, give love to others, support others, and you will see how that creates an incredible momentum. And I've seen that again and again. And you are an example of that to me, because we connected online and you just gave love. You gave love to my work, to me, just on Facebook and our interactions, our few interactions. But love, really, it opened up this incredible friendship for you and I. And like I said, you've blessed my life so much, but it was the love that you brought in the beginning that even allowed that door to open. So what a wonderful
That's
example
beautiful.
you are. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
So
Yeah.
before we move on to our final asteroid, I just want to ask you, why do you think I've attracted these men who have this Venus Lilith energy ruled by Mars? The first one, right? It was crazy because the first one, it was like a dream come true the first 5 months. And then he started getting jealous, and then he started getting mean. And the last like 3 weeks, he was violent. Like I was scared for my well-being. And, I didn't even realize what was happening at first because I'm just so compassionate. And I thought, oh, he's insecure. Once I realized it, I was gone like 2 days later, and I could leave, which is so great. And the second one as well, there were things that happened that ended up feeling very hurtful to me as well. If you had to make something of that conjunction, what would you
Yeah.
make of that conjunction? Yeah.
Well, that conjunction and you being attracted to that conjunction, for you, you are being tested on your Lilith. Your Lilith is being tested. In other words, how well can I maintain and how well can I to really sit into my Lilith while I'm having these people come into my life and play around with it. And so, you could go down the road of being scared of them or giving them the power or whatever and there would have been a part of your Lilith that would have been cringing because it's kind of like Nadiya, no, 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 no. Don't give in to these guys, hold your own. And so you would have been tested on your Lilith with how well you're maintaining your fearlessness in that particular energy, for that particular energy to come into your life. For them, having Venus and this is kind of interesting because it's Venus and it's Lilith in their natal charts. They really, really do have to come into an understanding of the female energy, the yin energy, and really, rather than try to control it or rather than try to overpower it or rather than try to intimidate it, they have to come into a place in themselves where they are actually celebrating it, where they're respecting it. It's Venus. Venus is the goddess of love and beauty and harmony and connection. So they have to actually find you and your strength and your power. They have to actually find that beautiful in you rather than actually coming up and actually going, oh, I'm attracted to her and she's beautiful, but I'm going to get the better of her. I'm going to play around with her. Rather than doing that, they have to actually sit back. And I want to say worship you, but you know what I mean? It's kind of a little bit like they have to be able to come into this beautiful, holy, sacred place with their own Liliths in them, and for them to actually feel safe with it, find value in it. This is all Venus stuff. Safe with it, find value in it, find comfort in it, and not be scared of it. Not be scared of it in them. Not be scared of it in other women, and love it and embrace it. And so rather than them coming into other women's lives and try to play around with them and try to take it from them and try to make them feel bad or try to subjugate them or try to intimidate them, they need to be able to put these women on pedestals and actually go, I love you. I love the person you are. I love the way you do your life. I really respect you. This is what they want to do. And they can actually have beautiful, beautiful relationships with Lilith women, strong Lilith women. They can have beautiful relationships with them on that level, beautiful love, kind of close relationships, if they could do that. Hard to do for a man, challenging to do for a man, because that male energy, the patriarchal energy, does not like the fact that a woman is strong or can be as equally strong or even can be stronger at times. They don't really like that. They can't handle that. So that's why men have such a hard time with Lilith, because they have to understand it in you and they also have to understand it in themselves. And you have to be a pretty evolved soul to be able to do that well, I feel. I feel gay men do it okay. You know, gay
Yeah.
men kind of love Lilith women.
No,
You
what do you
know,
mean? Oh, gay men. Yes, they
gay
embody
men
that.
love Lilith
Yes.
women. They love
Yeah.
Lilith women.
That's so
They
true.
love strong.
Yeah.
All the divas that the gay men all worship, they're all strong Lilith women. You
Wow.
know,
I
it's
think that's
interesting, isn't
why I have so many gay men in my life. Yes, you're so right, isn't it? Okay,
Yeah,
finally, thank you for that, Mark. That was very generous of you. I will be watching this again and meditating on that. Like I said, every time I talk to you, you say something and it ends up being so relevant and so important to me. So thank you for that. And I'm hoping that this conversation as well ends up being important to a lot of the people watching as well,
I hope
helping
so.
them to understand these asteroids. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too. So, will we talk about Eris?
Yes, please. Yes, let's do that.
So, as we know, Eris is new. So she's still kind of coming into astrology slowly. We're molding her as we go. She's very strong in my chart, and that's why I kind of understand her a little bit more, because I'm calling on some of the stuff that I've understood with her or been through with her. But I've actually included her quite a lot in readings. She's very, very slow moving. She's twice as far out as Pluto. So she takes 558 years to go right around the chart. So, you know, she's moving roughly a degree every 4 years at the moment. That's how slow she moves. She's in Aries at the moment. She's around 25 Aries and been in Aries since 1925. So that's how slow she is moving. She goes a little bit quicker in other signs. But Eris is a very, I think you have to be a very, very, very evolved soul to really do Eris well. And there's a lot of people who do this, because Eris in mythology was a troublemaker. She was a troublemaker. She was bad news. You know, she would come and she would love to watch other people go down the road of pain or go down the road of misfortune. She'd really, really get excited about other people going through difficult times. You know, she'd have it's
He
funny in a
wasn't
way,
nice. You know,
but you
discord.
know,
Yeah, yeah, the
yeah,
goddess of
exactly.
discord. Yeah.
She wasn't allowed to come to the party. All had this, all the gods and goddesses had this huge party, and she wasn't allowed. She was crossed off the guest list because she was a troublemaker. She rocks up wanting to get in, and they go, you're not coming in. So a lot of people know about the apple, you know, Callista. She throws the apple, golden apple, into the party, and on the apple it says, to the prettiest girl at the party. Okay. And so all the women, of course, rush for this apple thinking it's going to be them. And they fight over this apple, and it's a big deal. And then three of them end up with the apple. They do a pageant kind of thing to try to win this apple. And they make Zeus the judge, and Zeus is going, no, I'm not going to be the judge. It was Hera, Aphrodite, and Athena in the end. And so they handed over to Pallas, sorry, Prince. He was a god, Prince God, Pallas. And he had to be the adjudicator of this pageant. They all took their clothes off and all that kind of stuff to win. Anyway, Aphrodite said, you can not only have me, but I'm going to give you Helen of Troy. You know, she's going to be a gift with purchase, you know, that kind of thing. So so Paris went, I'm going to vote for her. And of course, you know, Helen of Troy was married, and Paris runs off with Helen of Troy, and it starts the Trojan War. Okay. So she is a huge troublemaker. She is just out there to just make sure that everyone's having a bad time. That's Eris. Now, here we go with this one, because for us, we have to come into a place within ourselves where we have to deal with rejection, competition, and jealousy. How do we deal with rejection, competition, and jealousy in our lives? Because Eris will bring that up. Eris will bring up all areas to do with something to do with that. Okay. Now, the high side of Eris, and this is what I've had to learn along the way, is how do we get past this? How do we get over anything to do with having to compete with somebody else or wanting them to fall down at the last hurdle or whatever. How do we get over that? We have to, in our own way, spin it right around, and we have to be there for our pet competitors. We have to, in other words, we have to be the mascots, or we have to be the cheerleaders for the people who are on the other team. If somebody else wins and you don't, you have to be the first one to go up and give them a big hug and actually say, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic. And you really wanted that prize yourself. You wanted it really badly, but somebody else got it. And rather than being bitter and angry and coming up with all these things about why they shouldn't have got it, to be genuinely happy for your competitor. In other words, it is about being able to, as Jesus said in the Bible, love your enemies. To be able to love people. If you can forgive and love somebody that has hurt you, you can actually go, wow, that person did the dirty on me. But I have to, for my Eris, I can actually live this bit of life, and hopefully they're going to have something really bad happen to them, and then I can clap and go, yay, they deserved it. You know, you can play that one. Or you can actually go, I wish them the best. I love them and wish them the best. I'm hoping that their life is full of beauty and heart and love and joy. They hurt me, but is me carrying that hurt for the rest of my life, and that hate and that resentment and that pain for the rest of my life, is that going to work for me? Or am I going to turn it around and actually go, yeah, they hurt me. It was part of my storyline. It was part of what I had to learn. So for me, I'm going to have to love them. I'm going to have to love them. I'm going to have to actually say, good on you. I'm going to have to say, I hope everything works out for you. I hope you get everything you want. High stuff, isn't it? To do that, we're going right up there. To actually not only just go, oh, I'm over it, you know, I'm released it, and blah, blah, blah. Not only just doing that, but to really be actively, I want to say, give active love to a person who has played against you in some kind of way. So
Wow. Yeah.
that's high Eris. That's high Eris stuff.
And in the end, the competition is only with yourself, I find. It's only with yourself. But then again, I have all that Aries energy at the top of my sky. I would think that. And so once again, everybody, Marc Laurenson is back at Synchronicity University, and he's going to be teaching on these incredible energies that he helped us to understand today. Lilith, Aries, Ceres as well. And you are going to get this deep dive. As this interview is publishing, you've got a few weeks left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, to learn from the one and only Australian famous, now branching out more and more, blessing us at Synchronicity University, the one and only Marc Laurenson. Marc, I adore you. I love you as an astrologer. I love talking to you. Thank you.
I love you too. I love you too, Nadiya. Thank you for having me once again. I can't wait to do the course.
Yes, I can't wait either. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Australia as well. And I think that'll be quite the joy as well.
Super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again, Marc. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Until we connect again, take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.